Mahala Mullins was not like other women in Hancock County, Tennessee. While the rest of the townsfolk were known for their sweet drawls and gentle smiles, Mahala was known for something else entirely. She was the best moonshine runner in the business. When you hear the word moonshine, what comes to mind? Maybe it's a tough mountain guy quietly crafting his brew under the night sky. One of the most infamous moonshiners in history was actually a woman. Meet Mahala Mullins, a bold and fearless figure who took on the law. She earned the title of the Moonshine Queen of Appalachia. Her story stands out, proving that legends can come in any form. People tell wild stories about Mahala Collins Mullins. It's quite a tongue twister, isn't it? Some claim she once took on 30 guys in a wrestling match and sold them all whiskey afterward. Others say she was so big when the police tried to arrest her, they couldn't even get her through the door, no less down the hill or to jail. By the time she passed away, her fame stretched from coast to coast and even into Canada and Mexico. The headlines that followed her death were "Not Too Big for Death," "Famous Moonshiner Dead," "Defied Law Officers from a Mountaintop." But like many figures throughout history, her public persona was shaped by creative journalists. So, how much of what we think we know about her is actually accurate? It's hard to figure out what's real and what's not. So let's start from the beginning. Mahala Mullins, often called Big Haley, was born in 1824 into a struggling family in Hancock County, though some say they were a little better off than most. It's said Mahala was never your typical kid. She stood out. With her strong, muscular build, there was gossip about her strength. Some said she could even pull trees right out of the ground with one hand. By the time she hit her teenage years, it said she weighed more than 300 pounds. She was a powerhouse, and few were brave enough to take her on. Besides standing out for being bigger than everyone else, she was also part of a unique group called the Melungeons. They're a mixed race community known for their Mediterranean looks, darker skin, and striking blue eyes, often referred to as the lost tribe of Appalachia. Some people rumored to also be Melungeon descent are Elvis Presley, Dolly Parton, Abraham Lincoln. They lived on the outskirts of society. As new settlers arrived and laws changed, they retreated further and further back into the mountains to stay away from the growing pressures. The origins of the Melungeons are still a mystery. Some think they are descendants of Portuguese sailors, while others believe they are a mix of Native Americans and Africans. No matter where they come from, they faced harsh treatment for being and looking different. They were pushed aside and denied basic rights, like the chance to own land. Many Melungeons lived off what they could grow. Initially, this is what Mahala did. Mahala was larger than life, but she found love with Johnny Mullins. He was a skinny guy weighing around 100 pounds, it said. His nickname was even Skinny. Their marriage proved that opposites really do attract. They ended up having 20 children. Sometime after her 19th child, it's said that she developed elephantitis, which is the enlargement and hardening of limbs or body parts due to tissue swelling. And with each pregnancy, she grew bigger and bigger. Folks started talking. Some even said she hit around 600 pounds or more. But with a big family came big challenges. Johnny was small and couldn't work traditional jobs. That left Mahala to figure out how to keep her family fed. But she had the answer: a little bit of moonshine. It was clever, but illegal. Yet she did what she had to do for her and her family. Newman's Ridge, where she lived, was a tough place to get to. It was a 3-mile hike to Mahala's cabin. Not easy. It kept a lot of folks away, but it had its perks. The ridge was overflowing with apples and peaches. Mahala saw the potential. Instead of letting the fruit go to waste, she started making brandy. Her moonshine was something special, pure and strong. Soon, everybody wanted a taste. Mahala's moonshine brought in money, but it also stirred up trouble. Her kids grew up in a rough world filled with booze and tough living. They earned a name for themselves, known for their quick tempers and reckless actions. Fistfights and shootouts became part of their everyday life. Tragically, many of her children lost their lives in fights driven by alcohol. The family's struggles didn't stop with the Civil War. Confederate soldiers once tried to burn down Mahala's cabin. They didn't stand a chance. Mahala and her sons fought back fiercely. One son lost a finger, while another took a bullet in the leg. Life on Newman's Ridge was brutal and wild, all under the command of a strong-willed mother. But her life took unexpected turns, and she was a complex woman, often overshadowed by her legend. She had a dozen arrest warrants out for her. Officers made countless trips through the tough miles of backwoods in Hancock County to find her cabin. But even if they managed to reach her house, getting her back down was impossible, since she weighed around 600 pounds at this time. Lawmen would even joke that she was catchable but not fetchable. And Mullins loved to tease them, saying, "Go ahead, try to take me." Mahala was too big to move around her house easily, so she embraced her mountain woman spirit and ran her family business from her bedside. She often mentioned that there is nothing wrong with making a living that way. She didn't want to leave her cabin anyways. Her cabin held deep meaning for her. Her sons had died in mountain battles and were buried in the backyard. From her bed, it said she could see her graves. Mahala felt tied to the mountaintop ridge where she lived. She spent her whole life within a 3-mile stretch, never making it to town or seeing a train. But she loved having visitors. Known for her storytelling, she would always serve cookies and milk to anyone who stopped by in her later years. In 1898, Mahala Mullins passed away at 74, which I think is pretty good considering how heavy she was. Her death was mysterious. People even said that maybe a jealous rival might have poisoned her. Even after she died, moving her body was a challenge. Some folks claim they took apart the chimney to get her out. Others said she ended up buried in a piano crate. What we do know is she was laid to rest next to her husband and sons under the apple and peach trees that helped her build her moonshine empire. There are no headstones, strangely, for any of them. Her cabin, once the center of illegal trade, was eventually taken apart and moved to Vardy Valley. Now it serves as a museum honoring her legacy. More than 200 years after she was born, Mahala's story is still vibrant. It captures the tough spirit of Appalachia. Every gallon of moonshine sold and every story shared about the mountain queen keeps her spirit alive. Her cabin might have left the mountain, but her spirit, that's here to stay. You can visit the cabin today. It's a windy drive, but worth the trip. Thank you for watching till the end, and we will see you next time on the Hillbilly Files.